Great day, kings and queens. Yeah, welcome to another conversation with Drew, where it's truly humbling, to be able to share this gift with you guys. It's truly a blessing, to be able to share the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that I've gained through my experiences and also the experiences of others. And due to the studying, that, I put in over the years, that's allowing me to become the best version of myself, in hopes that, you become the best version of yourself with what, was shared today. Man, it's an amazing morning, man. I know that, the sun wasn't popping like yesterday, but it's still a terrific Tuesday. I thank God, the Most High, Elohim, I'm blessed, to be able to understand the significance of life, and so I wanted to title this one, Why Don't I Like Me? A lot of people have that question on why don't I like me? Why don't I like myself? And, whether you're secretly asking that or whether, you're truthfully dealing with yourself, a lot of people have that question on why do I not like myself? And to answer that as quick as possible, before I delve into this good groovy true music, that I call it, is because you don't know yourself. Simple as that. The reason why you don't like yourself is because you do not know yourself. You really have to sit down and ask your true self this question. When is the last time that I set me down to learn me? When is the last time that I set me down and I ask myself real questions, personal questions, dealt with me? When is the last time that I truly have set myself down and I really delved into my soul to ask, what do I like? What don't I like? What do I love? What don't I love? What is it that I desire out of life? And that is a true, genuine question that you must start sitting down and asking you. You have to take time out of your day, each day, to really assess you, to really deal with you. It's the most powerful component that you can ever accomplish and ever acquire in life, the component of learning yourself. Knowing you, understanding you, really having the mental fortitude to deal with you. Because that's real. You don't like you because you don't know you. You have never taken the time out to really learn you. You have no idea how much that you think the way that you do from the influence of your peers, of your friends, of your coworkers, of your parents, of people who you've grown up with. You have no idea how that has impacted your life and influenced the way that you think. And so if you've never taken the time since you were a child to learn you, you have no idea on why you don't like you. And that's just the truth. And it's so hard for people to swallow that pill. But the reality of it is that you've never sat down and taken the time out to learn you. The reason why I am where I am today is because when I had went through my transformation process mentally and spiritually, I had to get my butt set down, right? After I was evicted, and I had to move back in with my mother, I really had to ask, like, okay, man, what is this all about? What is this process about? What am I experiencing? What am I dealing with? And the reality of it is like, man, Drew, you were doing the things that you were doing to yourself, whether that was, smoking marijuana every day, whether that was having multiple sex partners, whether that was being a manipulator, deceiver, a liar. The reality of it is that the reason why you were being destructive to yourself and to others is because you did not know you. Andrew Clayborn, you didn't really like yourself the way that you told yourself, player. You was lying to yourself. Yeah, you had a couple of muscles and you got a little bit of self-esteem and confidence, but the reality of it is that you really did not know you. And so I had to sit down. I had to really sit down and really begin to delve into me and ask myself real questions. Hey, man, is that cool that you treat yourself like that? Is that cool that you treat others like that? Is that something that you genuinely like? And as I began to dissect myself, as I began to delve into who I really was or who I really am, I began to see so many character flaws that I had to change. Hey, I ain't gonna even lie to you, man. It was some nights. It was some nights, man. I would be bawling my eyes out, crying, straight up crying, because I realized how ugly a lot of the things that I was doing was. And it was not really me. It was stuff that I learned from my peers growing up in middle school and high school. It was stuff that I heard in music. It was stuff that I saw on TV that it really wasn't me, that I accepted and I practiced, but it was not me. And so I was destructive not only to myself, but to other lives. And so I had to go back and do a whole bunch of apologizing to people who I can contact and I can reach out to. Because the reality of it is that I did not know me. Therefore, I could not be the true me. Therefore, I could not give somebody true value as a friend and as a father and as a person. I couldn't do it because I did not know me. So I had to start really delving into who I am, really spending time with me to learn me. I had to separate myself from people. I had to distance myself from certain people because I had to take the time out to know me. Why don't you like you? It's because you don't know you. You got to be real with yourself, kings and queens. You got to say to yourself, like, man, when have I really sat down to ask myself real questions? Man, we're not taught this stuff. This is why that's my responsibility to share my bull crap, to share what I've gone through, you know what I mean, to help you to understand the importance of this. You have to take some time. I don't care if you're 55 years old, 65 years old. You have to sit down right now, kings and queens, and really tap into the principle of assessing yourself. Really learning you. And listen, it's not easy. It's not an easy process, but it's one of the most important processes that you can go through. One of the most important transformations that you can experience in life, to learn you, to know you, kings and queens. I'm telling you right now, it'll change your life forever. See, you've been in and out of relationships. You know what I mean? You've had toxic relationships, because the reality of it is when have you really sat down? Be truthful. When have you really sat down and wrote out the desires of your heart? What it is that you expect in a family, what it is that you desire out of a husband or a wife, what it is that you expect your family to look like, what it is that you need as a king or a queen in order for you to be happy, in order for you to be fulfilled, in order for you to have peace and joy with another person. Have you ever sat down and did that? And I can go across the board, and about 98% of us have not. That's just the reality. We have not sat down and dissected our own selves to know what we want. It's so crazy, right? That we can get on social media, or we can, talk to our friends in private, and we can tell them all about our favorite actor, our favorite entertainer, our favorite musician. That's mind-boggling to me. There are people who are paid professionals to tell people about other people's lives who are successful in our eyes, or who's an entertainer, or who's famous, and they've never taken the time out to learn themselves, to do research on themselves, to really delve into who they are, to know what it is that makes them great, to know what it is that brings joy to their hearts. They have not taken the time, and they are paid professionals, and they don't even know themselves. They really do not know themselves, because nobody is being taught to sit your butt down and learn you, to truly know yourself. I didn't know me. That's why I was a womanizer. I didn't know me. Why? Because I know I'm a husband. I'm a king. You know what I mean? I know that I'm supposed to be a husband and a king and a provider for a family. I know that. I didn't know that back then. I be sharing with, people, who's close to me. Listen, this was my idea. I got to share my truths with you guys, man. Y'all got to know, who y'all dealing with. This was my idea of when it came to a woman. This was my idea of what my life would look like, kings and queens. I always knew that I would be successful, right? But this is what I thought. I always believed that wherever I traveled frequent at, right? Wherever I frequent at and travel, wherever that I had a main place or position, where I would have a home. In my mind, this is what I thought, that I will always have a main in that city or in that state. So if it was 4 different places, 5 different places, in my mind, this is how I was thinking, that I will always have a main woman in each of those places. Because I'll always be traveling to those places. I always knew I'd be traveling before I even found purpose. I always knew I would be successful. I always knew that I'd be on the go. So this is what I believe, that I would have a main in each one of these places. See, that's the difference. Because once I learned me, I'm like, man, that don't even make sense. How am I have a main in each one of these places? Like, that's the right thing to do. I can't even fully give myself to each one of these women, so I'm just going to be giving them pieces. But this is how I thought, because I did not know me. Now that I know me, I know that I'm a king. I know that I love to be at home with my family. I know that I'm building a home for my family. I know these things now, but before then, my idea was that I'm going to have me a main in each state that I frequent. But this is how I thought for years. For years, I believed that. And that's why I'm telling you, kings and queens, is that what it is that you have to do and really sitting down to learn you is vital. It's important because a lot of the ideas that you have in your mind are flawed. A lot of the things that you believe about you are flawed. You have to sit down to really dissect yourself, assess yourself, and really know you. I was helping this young queen out, right? And she was talking about, relationships. And it was so powerful, the analogy that came to me, and she was like, why is it so hard, to find a good man, and the X, Y, and Z, I got this to offer, so forth and so on. And I asked, I said, have you really sat down and really wrote out the desires of your heart as a queen? What it is that you desire your husband to look like, what it is that you desire your husband to possess internally, what it is that you desire your husband to be like to your children. I said, have you really ever sat down? I said, think about it. I said, it's just like a doctor or a nurse, right? You have a general idea, of when you go into each patient's room, how to deal with patients. You have a general idea across the board on how you're going to deal with patients. I said, but the reality of it is that when you go into each room, I said, written down on a chart, there is specific needs to each patient. You can't go in there with the same idea that you had with the last patient that you dealt with, because their needs are different. Their needs are specific. That's why it's charted, so that you will have an understanding on how to deal with each patient specifically. So why would they have to write that down? It's because each person has a different need. You have to understand that each individual that you deal with in life, they have a different need. And if that person does not know their needs, and you go into their life with the same ideas of what you dealt with in the last circumstance, in the last situation, in the last friendship, in the last relationship, you're going to always cause destruction. Because A, you're going there with preconceived notions, and B, they don't even know what the heck they need. So if you're giving them something that they don't need and they don't understand why they're feeling unfulfilled and not happy, is because they don't know themselves. They don't know their desires. They don't like themselves because they don't know themselves. You think about it, right? How many songs have you ever heard? How many songs have you ever heard and initially you didn't like the song? And you heard the song over and over and over, and you began to listen to the lyrics, and some of the lyrics began to speak to you, and more you heard it, and the more you learned about it, you began to like it. Or how many times have you came across the person, right? And initially they came off, funny, and your perception of them was skewed, or it was flawed, and you didn't really care too much about that person. But the more you got around that person, and the more you had conversations, and the more they begin to open up, and you begin to hear and learn about this person, you begin to know that person, and you begin to like that person. It's the same thing with yourself, kings and queens. Yes, you've been with yourself your whole life, but you've never sat down to begin to learn you. You never sat down and began to dissect yourself. Begin to remove some of the toxins that you've dealt with in life. Begin to remove some of the character flaws that you've produced over the years. I had to do the same thing, and that's why you see the king before you today, because I did not like myself, because I did not know myself. But once I began to know who the real Andrew Clayborn is, not my flaws, see, because you're not where you are. I mean, you're not known by the Creator, the Most High, by where you are. You're known by Him, by who you are, the real you, the true you. And so I was not expressing the true me, being caught up by where I was in life and some of the things that I've done, some of the mistakes I've made. So I had to begin to really learn me, because a lot of us define ourselves, or have been defined by others by mistakes. And that's not the reality. That's not the true you. You just didn't know any better. That's why it's so important to sit down and really get to know you. You find out where you want to go in life. You find out your destination. You find out the things that you aspire to be. You find out your purpose in life. But so many, again, do not know these things because they never sat down to learn themselves. Either you're constantly working, or you're constantly being a family man or woman, or you're constantly around friends, or you're constantly in activities. You're constantly doing something other than sitting down and getting to know yourself. This is important. This is vital. This is key. God puts unique gifts in every person. Nobody is the same. They say identical twins are not even the same. You are a different individual, so you have to sit down and begin to know you. You can't base you off of what other people said about you. You can't base you off of what other people thought or believe about you. You have to base you off of what you really are and who you really are. I'm telling you, kings and queens, when I did this, it transformed my life. I finally sat down with myself and began to shuffle me, through the maze of life, began to, pick through some of the rubbish. And I seen some ugly things about myself. They weren't the most beautiful things, I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, like I hate to lie. I hate to manipulate. I hate to deceive. But that's what I was doing because that's what I was taught. I was taught, that pimping and player type of mentality and attitude. You play on these women. You pimp on these women. You deceive and manipulate these women. You know what I mean? But that's what I was taught. That's what I grew up around. I idolized pimping when I was growing up. I thought that was the most fascinating thing for a man to be able to manipulate a woman's mind and make her go out there and sell her whole soul and then bring him the money back. I thought that was the most fascinating thing in life until I saw that I was a king. Until I saw that was destruction. Until I saw that wasn't of the Most High. Until I saw that, man, they were abusing one another and they didn't even know it. He thought he was getting over, but really he was only living out a destructive life that he learned growing up. So what I understand now, kings and queens, is that the importance of us sitting down and learning us is the reason why people are addicted to drugs. Is the reason why people are addicted to sex. The reason why people are addicted to gambling and have these many addictions, because we have not sat down to learn ourselves. Because once you learn you learn you do not like getting high. You don't like getting drunk. Once you learn you realize that you don't like sleeping around with multiple women or multiple men. Once you learn you realize that, man, you are more worthy and more valuable than putting yourself out there, your business out there, putting your goods out there. You learn yourself. Why? Because I guarantee most people who are married now, if they did not save themselves, right? Most people, when they meet the love of their life, right? Most people be like, dang, I wish I would have saved myself for you. I wish I would have saved myself for you. But because we didn't know ourselves, we gave ourselves to people who we are no longer with. It protects you, kings and queens. I'm not making this thing up. It truly protects you from going out and being destructive with your life. Dr. Miles Monroe, he said, man, anytime that purpose is unknown, he said abuse is inevitable. When you do not understand the purpose of a thing, you will abnormally use it. He brought something to my attention that was just so powerful. He said, man, think about it. He said, God made the marijuana plant. He said he made the coca plant. He said he made the tobacco plant. And what did he say? He said, and this is good. He said, but see, what man has done is because we didn't know the purpose of those things and that they can be used medically to help people. He said, we then abnormally use it and abuse it, and it's destroyed communities. You don't know the purpose of your life because you don't know yourself. You have not sat down with you to really dissect you, to really understand the purpose and value of you. Because I sit down with myself, I can't be in relationships with everybody. I can't be in friendships with everybody. I can't go out here and give myself away to all of these women, you know what I mean? Like society teaches you to do. I can't do that. Why? Because I know the value of me now. I understand the purpose for my life now and how it impacts and influences others. I know myself now. I just don't like myself. I am in love with myself now because I understand my value. I've written down numerous of times what it is that I desire in life, what it is that I look for in a queen. I know myself now. I enjoy reading. I want my queen to be educated. She don't have to have a PhD, but just enjoy educating yourself, furthering the advancement of your mind. I know that I'm a God-fearing man, that I am in love with the Most High. I need my wife to be on the same thing. But before, I didn't think like that. Before, I didn't understand how much I valued my body. So I go every day to exercise because I understand the importance of the temple. I get it now. But I didn't get it back then. So that's why I did not aspire to do that, nor did I aspire that in other people to have to be in my life. Because I didn't know myself. And so I abused myself. I abnormally used myself. Because I did not know myself. I didn't know the purpose of my life. I didn't know the value of Andrew Clayborn. And so that's why I'm saying to you, in the value of you, kings and queens, is the only way that you learn that is when you spend time with you. Valuable time. I'm not talking about being alone and just sitting there and watching some TV. I'm talking about being alone, cutting off TV, cutting off music, and really spending some time with you and writing down some valuable questions. And what do I want out of life? What do I like about myself? What can I work on about myself? What do God say about me? What does the Creator, the Most High, the manufacturer of the human race, what does He say about me? How does He believe that I am, or that I should be, or how I should carry myself and conduct myself? How should his apex of creation, His most prized product, how should that function? I had to go and do the research and learn these things, kings and queens. I did not make this stuff up. This stuff was already laid out for me. It's just that what you seek, you shall find. And I was only seeking destruction. And so as I began to seek out life to learn me, I had to understand that first, in order to learn me, I had to learn the Most High. And once I began to learn that, I began to see how valuable I was, how special I was, how unique I was, how great that I can be, the potential that was in me. I began to learn so much about myself, and I said, wow, this is mind-boggling. Why? Because what I was taught in school was that my ancestors were slaves. This is what I was taught in school. So to aspire to just be a good person with a good job, you know what I mean, who does good things, I realized that I was more than that. I realized I was more valuable than that. I realized that I had a purpose. I had a destination. I realized that I was packed in prize with possessions and treasures. I realized that I had a uniqueness about myself. I realized that when I spoke, I was able to captivate the crowd and capture the minds of others. I realized that I had the ability to teach. I realized that I had the desire to love on people. I love to help people. It is a sick obsession. I love to help people. That's why I do this every day. I love it with a passion. I will go out my way to help you so that you can become better. That is me, but I did not know my nature when I did not know myself. I didn't know it. So I manipulated people with the gift that I had inside of me. I used to talk real slick so that I can attract women, so that I can woo and wow women. I was using the gift in the wrong sense. I was using it to be destructive, to manipulate and deceive. But once I learned that I was a superhero, life changed forever. But you have to understand the value of sitting down with yourself. You have to learn the value of really getting to know yourself. You do not like yourself because you don't know yourself. You don't like the things you do because you don't know yourself. You don't like the people that you are around because you don't know yourself. You don't like the place and position that you're in because you don't know yourself. Once you begin to learn and know yourself, you'll begin to make better decisions to add to who you are, to reveal the greatness that's inside of you, to pull out what it is that's been placed in you, to operate on the highest level mentally and spiritually and emotionally and physically so that you can be the greatest version of yourself. The information out there is endless, but you have to tap into it. I started reading because I understand that there were seeds inside of me that needed water. And the only water that can give that seed its growth and begin to take it through the germination process was information. It was a king came up to me, man, and said some of the most profound things yesterday that was just so simple, you know what I mean, that I wasn't even expecting from this brother, and he was just like, man, Drew, I be getting on your videos, man, and I be checking you out, man. He was just like, man, he said, where you get that stuff from? He said, where you be getting that wisdom and that information from, man? I was just like, man, King, I was like, man, I love to read. He said, man, that's what it is. Dude from the hood, he grew up in the streets, you know what I mean, made some wrong decisions, but he was still able to acknowledge that he sees something different and more in me. We always grow up and we always hear knowledge is power. Man, listen to me, kings and queens. Knowledge is there to spark something inside of you that's laden. That's like a reservoir. It opens it up. I can't really explain it, but man, when I say it's one of the most beautiful things in life, because it's like your experiences and the things that you go through in life, it meets its perfect match with information. And when they come together, it makes perfect harmony. It's beautiful. With fitness, I never grew up around a family of fitness, but that burning desire in me to be healthy, it kept brewing up, and it wanted more because of my experiences. But then once I got the knowledge and the information on how to be healthy, once they came together, it made perfect harmony in my life. I'm not telling you to sit down and read a book because I want you to just be smart. I'm not sitting down to tell you to read a book because I love to read. I'm sitting down and telling you to get to know you, write questions down, and begin to pour in vital information, is because that's what's going to cause you to become the greatest version of you. You don't know you. How do you learn something? Is by information. That's how you become smarter, more educated, more wise, is by information. I'm not making this stuff up. It's just like when you're on your job right now. When you went into that job, you didn't know how to do what was required for you to be successful on the job. What did they do? They had you take some lessons, or they had you do some stuff on a computer, or they had somebody who had the information train you, right? So now through that knowledge, you know how to be successful on a job. It's that simple. But you became successful on a job that you never did before by information. Imagine if you applied those same principles to learning you. Wow. The greatness that will come out of you. The power that will come out of you. You don't even know how successful you can be. And so that's why you're not pouring out that type of success. You don't know the value that's in you. That's why you deal with the same people that you know you're not supposed to be around. You don't know yourself and the greatness in you and the purpose that's on your life. And that's why you continue to abuse your life with drugs and alcohol. You don't know you yet. And that's why you're not fulfilling your purpose. That's why you're not expressing what you know is innately in your heart. That's like a bird who always knows that it can fly, but it never flies because nobody ever taught it that it was able to fly. Or a fish that just sits there in the water and just floats and drifts because nobody ever taught it that it can swim. Your value is inside of you, but you got to unlock it with information. Information, knowledge. You got to learn, you kings and queens. You got to learn, you kings and queens, man. You have so many seeds of greatness inside of you, but the only way that they grow into forests is by you pouring in information, getting to learn those seeds that's there. Getting to learn the seeds of greatness that's in you, that's buried inside of your soul. They are there. They won't go away. Don't die with them, though. The purpose of it is that you release them. But the only way that you can release them is by getting to know them, by sitting down with yourself, taking 5 minutes out of your day to just write down things that you like or don't like about yourself, and then begin to pour in information on how you can make those things better. On how you can become better, on what it is that you're here to do, the purpose of your life, why you were sent to this earth to be great. I promise you, kings and queens, it's there. It's living inside of you right now. That's why I get on here every day to motivate and encourage and inspire and edify you, because I understand the value of your nature. I understand that you were sent here to be great. I understand that you weren't sent here as an experiment. I understand that you weren't sent here illegitimately to be a person who just survived. I understand that you weren't sitting here just to pay the bills and die. I understand that you weren't sitting here just to make a living, but you were sent here to make a difference. And the only way that you can be different in this society that wants to make everybody a cookie cutter mentality, boxed in into this idea of the American dream, is by you getting to know yourself. Really sitting down with you, delving into what you really like. You can't stop those habits right now because you don't know yourself. Once you know yourself and know your purpose, it'll help you to stop those habits, those bad habits that you don't like. But sit down and get to know yourself. Take time to learn you so that you can take time to really love you. You can't teach somebody how to love you, and you can't keep going through these destructive relationships and expect something to change if you don't take time to learn you, if you don't sit your butt down to learn you. That's the only way, kings and queens. I see so many people who do it, and those people who have done it have become successful. You have to sit down. You have to take at least 5 minutes out of your day to really reflect on who you are, what it is that you desire out of life, what it is that you want, what it is that fulfills you, what it is that makes you happy. There's something that's there. I learned that mine was helping people. And it don't matter if I'm in a gym. It don't matter if I'm on Facebook Live. It don't matter if I'm walking up the street. It don't matter if I'm in church. It don't matter where I am. I just have a sick desire to help people. And so I continue to work on me so that I can be better for y'all. I love you, kings and queens. Thank you guys for tuning in to another conversation with Drew. But my motto is, it's not a look, it's a lifestyle. Because we do this every day, not to impress people, but to leave an impression on the earth. I ask that everybody that's on this video to share this video. If you're not on the video and you happen to watch it later, please share it. I want to thank everybody that's had the opportunity to donate to the movement. We thank you guys so much, tremendously. We have so much respect for you guys and so much admiration for you guys. If you have not had the opportunity to donate, inbox me for further instruction. If you have questions, if you have concerns about what it is that I talk about, or have, you know, a misunderstanding of life and you just want to know more, inbox me. You know what I mean? Hit me up. You know, and I'll do my best with the information and experience that I had to pour out to you. I love you, kings and queens. Have a terrific Tuesday. But remember, in order to like you and to love you, you must know you. Peace.